Welcome, Leo, to the Indigo Void. Today we'll be doing a general spread along against the U against the world spread. And we'll finish off with a Angel Oracle card. Let's get to that one more shuffle. I personally find shuffling cards and readings very annoying. At the center we have the Seven of Cups crossed by the Six of Pentacles, overlay the Ten of Swords. Underneath is the Page of Wands. The recent past is the Knight of Pentacles. The near future is the Three of Wands. The advice is the Knight of Swords. How others see you is the Three of Cups. Your hopes and fears is the Five of Swords. And the outcome is the Tower. So immediately from seeing the Seven of Cups, you can clearly tell that you're trying to find inspiration within many different things. Probably scatterbrained, not knowing what to achieve in your life. You could be definitely feeling conflicted about what to invest in. This could be feeling lost or emotionally unstable, just to the point where you want something to focus on and you can't tell what to invest in because everything sounds so good or nothing sounds good at all. There could be a lot of times where you just sit and complain to yourself internally because you have only so much energy and so much time, and you don't know which one of those cups is actually going to give you the overflow that you need to express yourself and feel gratitude for what you're investing in. It could also be that you have many different options and choices hitting you at once, and you're asking for your guides to give you the best clarity on which one to choose. Diversity in this moment would not be the wisest situation, just because if you have a bunch of things that are half finished, at the end of the day you only have a bunch of things that are not done, and it can be tricky to see which one of those would actually be worth your time, because our time is limited and all of that is more valuable than anything else we have. We can't get our time back at any time. There's no kind of borrow 5 minutes and get that 5 minutes back. It's constantly going forward. So it's important to meditate and focus on what you need to invest your emotional time into, and honestly just sitting back and waiting for the universe to give you those answers is often the wisest, of course. We can see the overlay is the Six of Pentacles, so we're looking for fairness within our choices. The universe may deem us worthy of, whether it be finances or just the attention or the understanding and knowing if we just ask it correctly, or if we are actually doing what's worthy of our time. If we're not working towards our goal and moving the ball forward, then how can we possibly be worthy of any kind of charity from the universe around us? If we choose to sit and do nothing, that's honestly what we're going to get is nothing back. So it's pretty wise for us to just make the choice to invest in something. If you know that you have options, it's best to pick one and take that leap of faith, and just know that the only way you're going to find out if one is not worth your time in the end is by trying, and then realizing that they have a breaking point if you don't see results within, let's say, a time set. If you don't lose your passion for, or let's say if you're trying to achieve a goal, put a time limit on it. And I know that sounds very skeptical for many different things. How can I generalize that? It would be, if you're trying to, set up a business, whatever, that's not going to happen within, a week, a day, or less than that. It could be the decision to set up, how is it going to work? What are things you need to understand first? You need to understand step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on and so forth. Can you spend your time educating yourself further on whatever you're trying to invest your time into? Does it actually bring something that you're passionate about, that you feel comfortable knowing that you spent time doing this instead of time just doing something else? So I feel like the universe will reward you if you simply make the choice to ask for answers, but also be worthy and willing to do the work for its gifts. Above you is the Ten of Swords, so it's just it's a final ending to whatever you've been doing previously, and you're expressing that. You've maybe gotten fed up with something that's just so toxic mentally where you can't focus on anything else anymore besides just drop it. And understand that this is as worse as it gets. Once you make that final decision to stop what you're doing previously and figure out what you need to invest your time into completely, then the universe will grant you a path to go into. There's that slogan when they say, the door's closed but they open a window, and vice versa, where it's come to the point where you can't go any further in what you're previously doing, and so it's time to sit down, ask the universe for help, write down things that you want to accomplish, and I would say tackle the ones that you're most passionate about, obviously at first. There could be many instances where a blessing in disguise could be one of the worst possible moments. Maybe this is a final ending of a relationship, a job, a situation where you just can't go any further because either you've lost passion for it or it's betrayed you. People, places, and things of that sort. So if you can no longer go further in that direction, that just makes you make it sure where you know where you cannot go back to. So now it must be time for us to invest figuring out where to go next, because that's not an option anymore. Going back is not an option to what you're trying to achieve, and it won't bring you anything fulfilling. Below you inside, you can feel the Page of Wands. So all this passion's wound up, and it's not exactly being guided in how to use properly, but it's a lot of enthusiasm to the unknown. You know, the adventure, it's like Lewis and Clark is exploring the Oregon Trail, you know, is fascinating because of the unknown. And if anybody follows the author of H.P. Lovecraft, he knows that's one of the greatest fears is the unknown, not knowing the outcome, not knowing it's there. You know, the deep sea, not to be able to see below the surface, and understanding that, sure, there's lots of things that may hurt you and be dangerous, would be failure's death, but at the same time, there could be treasures. And to be known for the people that took the first step into exploring that, to face the dangers and come out to the top, is true recognition. And in the end, it brings us life, is the ability to have enthusiasm in exploring what's unknown to us. You know, our journey tomorrow is not guaranteed, therefore, what do you exactly have to lose in investing in something that's unknown around you? You know, so use that enthusiasm, use that blind enthusiasm while you have it, because it doesn't always last. That's the thing that we need to do, is take action right now at this point. From what I can see is that if you're up in your head and you're just sitting there and you're not focusing on how to continue walking forward, it's just going to be the hell of your own making. You're going to sit there in the Ten of Swords, and what you previously lost will seem so valuable if you do not take the consideration that you have the answers within inside yourself. You can sit and contemplate enough. You know, understand that time is going to move whether you want it to or not. So why not spend this time wisely by investing properly? So don't be afraid to make mistakes, but at the same time realize you can learn from the mistakes you've already made. In the recent past, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So whatever you're doing was moving slowly, but also it's accumulating sure facts, I would say. It's about making sure what you want and what you don't want. It's going over everything extremely cautiously, just by making sure that if you don't want what you were previously doing, you know why. And it's not second guessing or looking back. And as the tortoise and the hare situation, where honestly we can feel at times that the world's passing us by, our friends, partners, people we see on the street or around us, they seem so much more successful quickly, or they've achieved so much more than us, but at the same time, is that this is your own journey. You must focus on your own journey and realize that your choices are your own, and you shouldn't be judging yourself or holding yourself accountable towards others. You know, learn to show gratitude and respect other people's successes, but at the same time, it's important that you learn from your own experiences. And the Knight of Pentacles is a very wise one, because when he crosses the path, every inch he takes, he understands that it's an inch that he's satisfied taking. There's no reason to go back, because he knows exactly what he's crossed over, what he's leaving behind. It's wise to know why he left it behind, and it actually allows him in the long run to not have to take that 3 steps forward, 4 steps back situation, or worse, 1 step forward, 5 steps back. It's nice to know that even though it's slow progress, it's still progress without having to return to the past to learn previous lessons. The 3 of Wands in the near future. And this could be having everything lined up, your mind, body, and spirit are attuned to understand that it's important for you to live the life that you want to live, and that your time is valuable. And know that just because you spent time on something that either failed or ended, whether it be a relationship, a workplace situation, or what you were just spending your time on, people, places, and things, it makes no difference. The important thing is that the 3 of Wands is allowing you to understand that everything that you've been through so far up to this point is valuable, and you can actually learn from your experiences, and it's allowing you to become more powerful and look to lots of things that can actually really be your breakthrough. How can you tell anybody around you? A lot of people, they have this misconception that failure is embarrassing. Failure is not embarrassment. It's actually the best teacher. And the people that fail the most, that's what success is. That's like the not the Webster's dictionary, slogan for failure, but amongst the circles that I interact with, is that success is going from failure to failure with grace. And I feel like in this instance, you can learn from what not to do, and either share your experiences on what not to do to those that are willing to listen, or you can show them how it never broke you, and it actually drove you to actually realize, okay, I understand that I did not want to do that one, and I really wanted this one, but still didn't work out. Either I can do the definition of insanity, or I can continue to move on and realize, okay, I have to cross that one off my list, knowing at least I tried it. That's what our life is. We are spiritual beings with our human experience right now, and to understand that trying is not failure. Doing it up until you've either been broken off or it's been stopped with outside your power. Take what you can learn from it. That's the most important thing I could say. So from the general part, I could say is that take some time, ask the universe for clarity on what you should be focusing on emotionally. Fulfillment in what you're doing is the most important thing. I'm not saying do your passion, because there's nothing worse than doing what you're passionate about for work, because that can become miserable. Understand what you've experienced. It's done. There's no reason to go back anymore. And just take that blind enthusiasm. Be passionate about what you could, the unknown. All right. So our vice is the Knight of Swords. Take action. I know at the same time we just talked about the Knight of Pentacles in the recent past, it's doing slow progress, but here we have the Knight of Swords, that don't be stuck in your head by continuously going round in circles, at the same time. Allow yourself to think quickly, what is, it could even say it's like, there's a quick opportunity that you can take place during this time. Maybe there's opportunities that are available to you right now if you just take action. At the same time, it could be that, your mind is very intelligent. It's able to think of quick things, in times of stress or emergency, whatever, that adrenaline, it reaches different levels. And this could be on an intellectual level where, sometimes failure of one thing actually allows you to come up quickly with solutions to things that you normally couldn't see there before. It's almost like, it's like a physical to mental thing, where you have something on the tip of your tongue, and as soon as you give up on it, or it lets go, or it becomes irrelevant, it immediately pops up in your mind, and it's just saying take advantage. And we'll clarify this just quickly. So the Three of Cups is in how others are seeing you. So they could be seeing you as somebody that's go-lucky, friendly, and generous, but at the same time happy to be around. So obviously whatever you're experiencing, it's almost like a private affair, where you could be compensating with just being the comedian, but at the same time entertaining people around you, letting them know your experiences, and obviously uplifting people around you. It could be that even if you're alone right now, people could still be finding you somewhat fun, like they actually wouldn't carry you. So it would make sense that if you were alone right now, that you would feel as if that you're not alone. You could be experiencing, it's almost like a comedian. Some comedians out there, some of the most depressed people out there, but they can make everybody else around them laugh. And that's a gift, because you're trying to cheer people up. At the same time, you're trying to avoid the criticism or negativity by making people laugh, that they're not going to pick on you. So I know that sounds negative, but at the same time is that, people do see you as somebody that's, good to be around, even if you are alone right now. They still might enjoy your company, but at the same time, they could find you fun, but dangerous. You never know. Like if you're, depressed and partying too much, or if you're just happy and you like to take things to the extreme, or you're the person that's, the life of the party. Some people enjoy the party, but if it goes on too much longer than they're used to or comfortable with, it won't be very much longer until they, kind of catch on to what you're hiding, if you're hiding anything at all. But from the inside, it's a scatterbrain mentality, and just understanding there's an end, and you have all this energy and drive to keep going. And it could be like a reckless force within inside you right now currently. And the best way to express it is by entertaining people and being around them. Connecting with others and being around them. It seems, because we're fiery. Leos are fiery, and they're honestly the best to entertain people. Especially with children, because we have the inner child mentality where we never want to grow up. So, your hopes and fears is the Five of Swords. So I feel like this is more like, a hope that knowing that whatever you're facing, you can defeat instantly. Like your intellect is so strong where you understand that you have a game plan above all else. I think that, by figuring out what's going on with the Nine of Swords and your advice, whatever, is that you can outsmart whatever situation you're put into right now. I mean, if you're facing kind of hardship, people, places, and things, it doesn't matter at that point. You can honestly combat that with your intellect. If you just sit down, ask the universe for help, whatever, the answer will come into you when you least expect it. And knowing that you have all the tools within you to figure this situation out and actually overcome it, to the point, it's letting you know that, in this card, I'll show you the picture of it. It's just pretty much like the angel, showing the swords to the human child, letting him know that the divine always has the divine intellect that we can honestly count on. And if we don't have the maturity within us to understand the divine is always with us, whether we connect to it or not consciously, is that it will bring in the answers to our solutions, and it will constantly outsmart us, and it will also surprise us at the same time. The best blessings, whatever, always come when you don't think about them. Losing something that you thought you lost forever, only to find it, or have somebody else bring it to you, or to find out how to get a better one, or a new thing, whatever. Those are always the best occurrences in life. Surprises. Some people don't like surprises, but I think at times we can all benefit from some surprises, especially if it solves a problem we've had for a minute, for a while, for a year, for 10 years. It's always nice to be surprised with a solution. And the final outcome is we have the Tower. And the Tower, is just God doing what you can't do for yourself. And I don't mean as in God as in the Judo-Christian God. What I'm saying is by the spirits, by the universe, telling you that whatever you built before is come crumbling down, allowing you to realize that your foundation that you built on was not very steady, it was not subtle. And if you were going to go further down that path, it just would have been a bigger disaster. So before I let you get any further in where you're heading, it's time for me to eliminate what you've just established so far. And as painful it could be to see what you built, it could be, the best thing that you think you could have now, but it's only temporary. It's understanding that, yes, it's painful to see what you invested your time into, and energy into, and resources into, whether it be people, places, and things. But then at the end of the day, it's important to realize that this destruction is the best thing for you, because you're going to know exactly where you made your mistakes eventually. Right now it just seems surprising, because that's what the Tower is. It's unexpected, because as a conscious human being you were unaware. But what the divine said is, because you were unaware, I was forced to destroy this. And it can seem unfair. A lot of these points people can question whether it is a divine, or if there was, how could a divine being possibly punish me? Some of you may realize, with this thing being destroyed and having to, use your mind to sit there and race in your thoughts, whatever you can be going over, mistakes, whether it be the relationship, the workforce, what you've been spending your time on, energy on, or money on. It could be realizing, wow, I should have done this better, I should have done that better, I should have done this better. And this is the Knight of Pentacles, at the same time realizing that I can now deal with, make progress slowly but forward. And because of the Tower, I have my understandings. I've learned 3 different lessons, whether it be financial, emotional, or my energy. I now have this ability to understand if I don't take those things seriously, to realize that it's not completely important into what I'm doing my time with right now. It's going to just be destroyed again. So take care with that. Take care to realize that your energy, your emotional health, and all that stuff, the best way to help the world is to help yourself, honestly. And I'm not saying be greedy, but what I am saying is that understand that if you're relying on the charity of others, and you're giving away your time and energy to other people or other things without giving to yourself, honestly, it's just going to backfire. So now I'm going to do the you against the world spread. It's very quick. So on the left, it's going to be you. On the right, it's going to be the world. 3 cards on each side with a mutual energy, similar to a relationship spread, but instead of a person or people, it's going to be the world itself. So the mutual energy between you guys is the world itself. That's crazy how it is. So, a completion of a cycle, a full understanding, coming full forward to recognizing that your subconscious and conscious mind are interacting and working in praxis, which is the action of doing what you believe or living with an action of your beliefs. So it's a wonderful thing for you against the world to actually have an understanding. You maybe whatever you experience, whatever has actually put you on your purpose, it's rewarding you by saying you've completed a growing up phase. I mean, the fool's journey, the world is the final card, and it's nice to see somebody actually completing a journey by understanding through the trials and tribulations of this life. And we go through the fool's journey multiple times, that you're able to come to an understanding. You know, it's almost like living in truth is different than saying in truth. And it feels good to come to this point, because it really does. It really does, where we have that onion folding, where we experience the next level of our consciousness, knowing that maybe this life has more to offer, or maybe I've survived something that's allowed me to see it from a different angle. Okay, so on your side, whatever the first card we have is the Four of Wands, and on the world side we have the Six of Wands. So as yourself, you feel like a strong sense of, calmness and peace, like a checkpoint within a video game, is that you reach a certain point where you're able to relax. But at the same time, is that what you've established now, it's time to reinvest that and continue going more. Put more on black. If you're going to the casino, whatever, it's time to take what you got and invest it in something else, because what you have now, it could be simply a simple party is not to be mistaken for security. If that makes sense, because in this card we can see, a couple dancing in youth outside of a castle, and it just shows the party. But at the same time, it's a time for celebration. But also we must remember that there's still many times of life to go. In our youth, we can feel as if we have everything put together within 10 years or so, if we're lucky enough to have that extra time. So much can happen with that, and either the wisdom we need to reinvest it, or to save it, or to continue to build our knowledge is how we continue to have prosperity in our life. It's not simply to get lost in thinking that everything you have right now is the most important thing, because either it'll be lost or it'll lose its shine. And the world is the recognition. So as the world sees you, it's telling you is that it recognizes you for the actions you've taken place, or the trials you've been through. It's understanding that sure, there's a lot of things that you should be recognized for going through. The actions you've taken, or the ones you haven't taken, they're in the spotlight. So at the same time is that the world is letting you know that it's allowing you to take an opportunity to recognize yourself. It's saying that those around you, whether it be your guides or your friends or your family or people around you, they understand that currently you're allowed to feel a sense of gratification for coming to either a realization or to a certain set point in your life. That's significance. You should be proud of yourself. Whether you're broke and living in your car right now, or if you're living in your mansion right now, you should be very proud of yourself, just because you've come to this point. It could flip or it could get better, based on your actions and choices, because it becomes this understanding that we are in control. We have the choices within us. We have the understanding that knowing that what we spend our time on, we are responsible for our reality. Remember that mindset is that it's all in your head, and we are responsible for our reality around us. Take responsibility and keep pushing it forward. And so that recognition from the world is saying, if you realize this moment, you can constantly live in that success if you just realize that every action has a respectable reaction. And so the next card is like, how are you currently investing your time? And it's saying for your side is the Seven of Pentacles, and the world is the Nine of Cups. So it seems as if from your standpoint as an individual, the Seven of Pentacles, sure, it's being satisfied that you're spending your time, possibly investing in things that it's almost like investing in time in work that's unfulfilling, but it's work for work's sake. Sure, it's satisfying to get minuscule tasks done, but it has no importance, and ultimately it's a waste of time. You could be doing things that sure are easy to accomplish, but you have potential for so much more. At the end of the day, the Seven of Pentacles depicts a man just raking leaves. Now sure, raking leaves, pays the bills. Have you guys ever seen a gardener's house? They are very wealthy people, especially if they're well established and have many people working for them or clientele. I am not knocking people that rake leaves for a living, but what I am saying is that the world is letting you know that while you're doing this minuscule work, while you're wasting your time, You could be living the Knight of Cups. You could be doing, instead of, having to be the one that's raking the leaves, you could be, paying somebody to rake the leaves, and sure, making them very wealthy as well. But there's a difference between having to work for your money to the point where you're using your physical body, and facing damage, heat, weather, changes like that, whether this man could lose everything and he can't pay you and help you anymore. So what it's saying is that the world's asking you to, take what you're doing, your worth ethic for unimportant work, whatever, and take, some of your time to, into what would emotionally fulfill you the completest. I mean, some people just want the money, and this man has all the money because he found a way to think and to create up a circuit system where his input maximizes his output and vice versa. Whereas this person's input, is very hard, very, very good. At the same time, it's being wasted. The potential is being wasted on minuscule tasks and labor. So find a way to spend at least, spend your worth ethic. I would say if you're working full time, if you can afford it, I know it's hard, especially with kids and family, if you have those things. But if you're a person that has, a day job right now, I would just invest, something else, learn a new skill to the point where you never know what's going to pay off. Take a notepad and reinvest in yourself, just for an hour every night. Make it a point, an hour every night to journal, whether it be you're watching a YouTube video like myself and you're just saying, wow, I could do that better than that person, or I want to learn how to do that, period, or I can bring my own flavor to it. You know what I mean? And so we have the final advice for yourself and from the world. So the world is saying your advice to yourself is to the Wheel of Fortune, but it's in reverse. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse is saying, don't expect, happen chance to happen. It's constantly turning this wheel. But you can't expect the world to recognize you for you're doing your hard work, your worth ethic, but what you're spending your time on. The wheel can't always guarantee, and it's going to happen on its own happenstance. Sure, you might hit the jackpot, but in reality, the lottery winners, praise be him for what they do, is that if you take your strong worth ethic and you pour it into an understanding of something that you can be good at, but apply that same worth ethic, you'll be able to not only achieve greatness, but you'll be able to maintain it, which is the hardest part. It's one thing to make your first $1 million, but if you don't understand how to sustain it, whatever, sure, you can keep on making it and making it and making it. But if you can't keep it or reinvest it or find out how to make it grow, it's just constantly going to bring it down. And do you really want to be, wealthy by happenstance? By luck? That's the worst thing ever, because a lot of people that win the lottery honestly don't understand money at all. They're happenstance, and they, their first generation wealth most of the time, and then it's gone. It's just a terrible tragedy, and what happens to people that don't understand, whether it be, sports stars or anybody that's a celebrity for the first time, you watch them just pour the money down the drain. I mean, that's why there's Nicolas Cage in every movie these days. But I love his movies. I love Mandy. And 8mm too, that one was good too. And the world's advice to you is the Hangman. See, these cards are hard to see in the light. The Hangman. So as your advice from the world, it's just saying, change your perspective. Understand that sure, at times that, you could have your whole life, your family, your parents, or somebody that loves you just says, just go get a job. Just get 2 jobs. Working 20 hours a day, having 4 hours to yourself to sleep, whatever. That's just normal. You should be having 2 jobs to pound it out. It's all about paying the bills at this point. It's all about having the physical currency. You're not allowing the universe to say, if you invest in the smart thing, provide a proper service, and by educating yourself to become self-empowered, you're going to have to realize that, otherwise it's just going to pummel you, because it's obvious that the universe is not going to grant you the jackpot, magically. So understand that it's time for you to change your perspective on how you're going to approach life, because sure, you might have some stability now, but at the same time, know that's coming from your hard work that's being wasted on your potential. Alright, so that's the Against the World spread. 29 minutes. Do one more. So last one is the Oracle card. This is the Indigo Angels. Card is Freedom. here to it. Freedom. This card answers your questions by guiding you to seek greater freedom. Perhaps this comes from releasing something no longer serves you. This card is also a confirmation that your prayers for freedom have been heard and the angels are working to bring the change into your life. As an indigo, you can sense when someone is being controlled or manipulated. You have an innate ability to understand unnecessary restrictions and rules. But sometimes you may unknowingly impose your own restrictions or rules upon yourself. When you draw this card, it signals that you should release control over your desires. Freely dream big for yourself and this planet and allow the angels to guide you with their eternal, infinite wisdom. That being said, I think I found the title of your reading. So, enjoy your freedom, but understand that, you know what, you should watch a movie. Watch, what's that one movie where that dude crawled through the sewer, to get his freedom, whatever, from prison. Oh, man. Anyway, let me know. Yeah, just watch movies that talk about people breaking free. I mean, that's what I'm saying, is that I can tell that you're a very passionate person, but you're also being taken advantage of whenever you're doing. So, Leo, thanks for watching. This is the end of a void, and be free.